One of the most fascinating things I heard about shooting a rocket into space is that 95% of the weight of the rocket is fuel that is needed to get the other 5% of the weight into space. If rockets could refuel during their journey, they would be much more efficient, but there are no gas stations in space. So the rocket needs to have all the fuel it's going to use during the journey on board. In this video you will see that Python lists and loops can have a similar problem, and although Python does not provide gas stations in space, you can make things much more efficient by using generators. Look at this log file. Each line has a timestamp and a message. I'm going to make a function that converts this file to a list of log entry objects. The first thing I do is to create a class that stores log entry information. Dunder init takes a log entry text line, splits it on the comma, and stores datetime and message. Dunder string returns the log entry information. I create function getLog that opens the log file and creates an empty log entry list. I read each line of the log, create a log entry object, add it to the log entries list, and return the list. What happens when I call getLog and print the result? A list of log entries is printed. I call getLog again, but this time use a for loop and print each element. And here is the result. Until now, there are no surprises. This is perfectly fine code. But it has a weak point. When I printed the result of the function, it was clear that all objects are in memory at the same time. With 5 objects, that is no problem. But what if the log file contains millions of log entries? The list would grow and all entries exist in memory at the same time. And the problem can even get bigger. If you have ever worked with server log files, you know they store a lot of attributes. The system might have a problem with all this memory consumption. So, is it necessary to keep everything in memory? It is not. And this is where generators can help. I create a second function called logReader. Notice it does not contain a log entries list. Instead, it yields a log entry object for each line in the log file. Before I explain yield, let me show that this works. First, I call logReader and print the result. Aha! The yield keyword converted the function into a generator. You can read this in the Python documentation, and I'll put a link to it in the description. Here it says the generator function returns an iterator. So, let's iterate. I call logReader again and loop over the result. The output is the same as with solution 1. But in solution 1, log entry objects were created for all log entries when the getLog function was called. But in solution 2, each log entry object was only created when a new element was requested by the for loop. This is called lazy evaluation, and after an element is processed by the for loop, the memory needed for the log entry object can be released by Python. And that's all for this video. Functions are very versatile in Python, and if you want to learn more, click on the screen right now and we'll see each other in the next video.